there, and welcome to Thursdays with Annette at 2 o'clock. Coming to you live from my home in Budrum, and you can see, of course, we're in the kitchen. I've got my apron on and I'm going to cook for you today. But before we get into the show, I just want to comment about last week's show. I think a lot of people learned a lot of good tips about rethinking your drink. So thank you for all those positive comments that you made. And we had 3 winners that came from last week's show. Let's have a drum roll, please. The 3 gorgeous winners who are super excited. We've got Nadina Cullen. She was very happy. Susan Filmer. She was super excited. And Madeline Russell. Now, Madeline actually wrote a comment after she'd found out she'd won the prize, and she said, "I love your recipes. My mum has been using your cookbook since I was a kid, and the beef tortilla stack has always been my favourite meal." And I agree, it's one of our favourites in our house too, Madeline. So I'm so glad you guys won a box of my beautiful premium breakfast shakes. And guess what? Every one of those lovely ladies picked the same flavour, the Wicked chocolate. And I think it's probably because they're thinking hot chocolate. Perfect time with winter, and you can just add hot water to this and it is a hot chocolate drink. So I'm very excited for you guys. They're in the mail already, so look out for them soon. So today I'm going to be making you a recipe out of my fabulous number 7 cookbook. I mean, I know I say that about all my books, but book 7 is a little bit amazing. I'm making the Rendang beef and vegetable curry. It's in the meat section. Now, there are variations to it, so you could make it with the rump, chicken, lamb, or vegetarian. So always remember to check in the nutritional panel there if there is a variation for you, because sometimes you might feel like chicken instead of beef. So let's set the kitchen up. So I've got my rubbish bin here. I've got my utensils ready to go. Now, the food that we need for this particular recipe, and I really recommend you do this at your house too, get everything out and prep it all up. Don't sort of just do it as you go, because I think that's a quicker, easier way. So we've got some really lovely rump steak. As I said, the cooking spray. We've got some crushed garlic, an onion, broccoli, capsicum, snow peas. I've already pre-boiled and cooked some potato because I want that. So that's the diced potato ready to go in the rendang. Now we're going to use a special paste. It's called a rendang paste, obviously, and I get that in my supermarket in the Asian section. So it's pretty easy to find the rendang, R-E-N-D-A-N-G. We've got some sweet soy sauce. So this is different. It's a bit thicker. You could sort of see there, it's thicker than soy sauce, and it's a bit sweet. And what I love about the two together, the spicy curry paste and then the sweet soy, softens it and balances it. It's just a beautiful dish. If you've not made this, you should be making it this week for sure. We've got some low salt soy sauce, some corn flour, a can of evaporated light milk, and coconut essence. Right, so I'm going to get cooking. So let's start by prepping up the meat, and then we'll go to the veggies. I always like to put on the gloves with meat, because then I don't cross-contaminate and it's all very good. Now, I want to preempt that I have got a fabulous prize for you guys today, so don't you go anywhere, because it's going to be you're going to want it, I just know. All right, so let's prep the meat. Now, what I did before we started was I actually cut off this stuff. Now, see this white stuff, fat? This is what's clogging our arteries. This is why heart disease is our biggest killer, is because we're eating too much of this saturated fats. And a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I don't believe in low fat." And I go, "Well, I believe in low saturated fat diet, and that's what my recipes are all about." So it's all about good health. So we chuck that out. So get it off, because you don't want it. So keep it nice and lean, and it'll just be so much better for your heart. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the steak into bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to just go down the middle. So imagine you've got your fork and you want it to be a size that you can just pick up a piece of meat and pop it in your mouth. If you're doing the chicken, then you want to use the skinless chicken breast. If you're going to do the lamb, then buy the lamb leg steaks. They're really lean than a lot of the other lamb cuts. And with the vegetarian, you're just going to add more veggies in, which is perfect. All right, so we've got our meat ready. And I do really like to do all this ahead of time because it just means that when I'm cooking, I've got it all there for me to do. So I'm just going to swap my boards because I'm going to just chop up the onion. So this can go in the dirty wash. And I'm going to take off my gloves. All right. So now onion, you're going to cut it in quarters and then slice. I always use brown onions. I just always have. No rhyme or reason to it. I think Mum always did, so I've just copied my mum. We've also prepped up I've done the broccoli. So you can see I've got them in little florets, so they're ready to go. Like once again, you want to be able to stick that in your mouth. If it's like too big, it's not going to work unless you've got a bigger mouth. I've chopped up and diced the capsicum. I like to do red because then you can see we've got lots of different colours going on. We've got the snow peas, the potato, they're all ready. So let's bring that wok over and get cooking. I mean, you can use electric fry pan or a saucepan on the stove if you want. If you don't have an electric wok, I just find it really easy and nothing sticks, which I love. So we're going to start with a teaspoon of garlic. Now, if you want to do fresh garlic, you certainly can. I'm just all about quick and easy, and that's how I roll because I really want it to be super, super simple. All right, so let's put that in there. That's going to start. Now, I'm waiting because I want the pan to get nice and hot. And so when the meat hits, it sizzles because that way it'll seal it all off and it's fantastic. Just remember that what I did beforehand was actually did the potato. So when I first start making this at home for the family, I do the potatoes first, get them in the microwave, and then I start cooking. All right, so that's starting to sizzle. Now, what you're going to do is you're just going to put a little bit in at a time. We don't want to throw the whole lot in at once because you know that's not how it works. I tell you this every time I'm cooking with meat. You want it to seal really well. And if you throw it in now, because the meat's cold, it will kind of stew it up, and you don't want that. That's not what you want. Now, this dish is one that I love a lot. I never get sick of it because it's just so tasty. And as this weather's getting colder, these type of stir fries, if you want to call it, or dishes, I think just really fit the bill in winter. Let me just wash my hands. All right, nice and clean. Now I'm going to leave that sit. You know, you always want to grab your spoon and start stirring. No, let it sit for a minute and let it cook. So while that's happening, I've just got my snow peas here, and I just want to show you when you're doing snow peas, just all you do is the end where it's got the little, what would you call that? The tip? Furry bit? I don't know. The stem, there's got to be a name for it. All you do is just pull it off and snow peas are good to go. Now, some of these are quite big. I'm not going to worry about it today, but if you wanted to and they're really big, you could actually cut them in half if you find that easier. All right, let's give them a stir. Now that garlic is going to infuse into the meat and it'll be just that little bit more delicious. Now, once I've cooked the meat, I'm going to remove it. And this is one of the things, hello, are you there? One of the things I do, because that way you're not stewing and overcooking your meat. So once it's just cooked, I'm going to take it out and then I'll put it back in at the end. And that way the meat will be juicy, tender and delicious. If I had this in the whole time I'm cooking, it would just be like lumps of leather, which is not what you want. Now this dish is fabulous. It's a Malaysian dish. It's from the Malay area, and it's one that they use for a lot of times when they're celebrating something. It's such an important recipe for them. So I don't think you need an excuse for a celebration. Just cook it up and enjoy. All right. This is so lean that there's hardly any juice, sizzling and disappearing as I speak, in the pan. How good is that? Okay, so there's our meat cooked. Fabulous. Now we're going to add in a bit of cooking spray. We're going to put in the the broccoli and the capsicum. No, onion. Where's the onion? Oh, here. Hello. Throw in the onion and the capsicum. Look at those colours. Just put these over in the sink. And let's give it a stir. Now what I'm going to do to help, because you think, oh gee, this is a bit dry because I've just used cooking spray. This is the thing with the Malaysian dish like this, they'd be having a bucket of oil in there and cooking it all off. What I do is I add a little bit of water. So I've got half a cup of water, which I didn't mention when I was doing the ingredients, but you use a quarter of a cup to help cook those veggies. And that's a much healthier way to cook. Now this has got 10 grams of fat a serve using the beef. I think the chicken is 6.3, lamb is 13.2, and the veggies 4.4, 389 calories, because it's a complete meal. Like I always like to serve some rice with it, but because of the potato, you could actually not even bother with that. All right, so now we're going to throw in the rest of the ingredients, the snow peas, the potato, and that other quarter of a cup that was left to help cook this all off. Look at those beautiful colours. And I love all these veggies. They're so good for heart health. This is what I love, like a complete meal. You don't have to have any extras with it if you don't want to. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the paste. Now this is the Malay Rendang, and I want 3 tablespoons. And so you can get this in your, supermarket pretty easily. And let's just cook that off. We want that paste to really connect with the veggies. Sizzle, oh my gosh, if you could smell this, I need a smellogram so you could come and smell it. It's so good. Yum. So I've cooked that off. Now we're going to add the other ingredients. So we want 2 tablespoons of that sweet soy. Remember, it's not soy sauce, it's different. So you can see it's quite thick compared to normal soy. So 2 tablespoons. Fantastic. And we've got 2 teaspoons of the salt-reduced soy sauce. I'll mix that all up. Let's chuck our meat back in now. Fabulous. You can see the technique to this is chop it up, chuck it in the wok and cook it. But I know there's some people going to be very happy to have this for dinner tonight in my house. Look at the colours, it's fabulous. Now the last thing we've got to do is put what I call my healthy, low-fat coconut cream. And that's what the Malays would do. They would have had, as I said, they would have put in the fatty meat, they would have cooked this all in a lot of oil, and then they would have added the coconut cream, which, is really, really high in fat. We're going to add in a teaspoon of coconut essence. And this is our last ingredient that's got to go in to the pot, apart from the corn flour. And now, remember, this is evaporated light milk, but it's the light one. Always use the evaporated light. Give that a quick mix. In we go. And now all we've got to do is combine all that together. Oh my gosh. Yum! I mean, who knew that weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Come on, this is as good as it gets. And you know, if you're really, just a chop and veg person, come on, give it a go. It really is tasty. So all I'm doing now is stirring this, waiting for the sauce to thicken. And just remember that this would traditionally be at least 40, 50 grams of fat, but my way is only 10. So how fabulous is this? Yum. Now this, remember, it's out of book 7, and you can freeze it for about 2 or 3 weeks, not much longer, because I've used the milk product, which is the evaporated milk. Anything with milk can't really be frozen for too long because of that, because it might separate. Now I've got my rice here ready to go. Let's serve this fabulous dish onto the plate, ready for a lucky person to eat for dinner tonight, which will be me. There you go. There's our dish. How fabulous is that? Now, of course, every week I give a prize away, and I was thinking, what could I do this week that would be a bit busy fabulous? Well, I'll show you what we've got for 3 lucky winners this week. You're going to win a Prep Deck. Yes, Prep Deck Pro chopping board, the ones that I use, and they're fabulous. And who doesn't want a pink chopping board? It's even more amazing. Now, how you win is you go into the like, share, and comment. Now, once you've done those 3 things, you are going to be able to go in. But remember, in the comment, apart from telling me that you've loved the dish and the show, you have to write in #simply2good, and that's where you put in the comments. #simply2good, and you'll go in the draw, and I'm going to pick 3 fabulous people, like I did last week when they wanted to win the shakes, and that'll be great. Now, if you want any more tips or recipes, ideas, you go to my website. There's fabulous resources there, www.simply2good.com.au. Now, next week's show, I'm going to be talking to you about winter tips, especially snacking, because I think it changes from summer to winter. So make sure you're here next week, because I've got lots of ideas for you that I think you're going to really love. Anyway, we've got Rendang beef and veg curry for dinner tonight. I wonder if you're going to cook it for dinner tonight. Take your photos and share it with me. See you next week. Bye now.